In response to my party leader Micheál Martin's question and Deputy Brendan Howland's question here today about Minister Varadkar seeking advice from the Attorney-General as to the protection of members' benefits and pension schemes, and specifically defined benefit pension schemes, you responded last week in a rather sheepish way that said that the Minister was simply seeking advice. Can I remind you that Minister Varadkar, the Minister sitting beside you, Minister Paschal Donohoe, and former Taoiseach Minister for Social Protection, Joan Burton, actually brought about this very issue, and brought about the issue by the destruction of the IAS pension scheme. 15,000 members who were removed out of the pension scheme unilaterally, aided and abetted by the previous government's Social Welfare Act 2014 and the State Airports Act, Section 33 of the State Airports Act. Now, we warned at the time, Taoiseach, that this would bring about other employers. You set a roadmap for other employers of profitable firms to wind down their pension schemes and reduce pension scheme benefits. So what I'm asking you now is, what is the AG's advice, and are you intending to bring forward specific pension legislation that would provide the protection that you and your ministers actually removed from pension scheme members in the last Dáil and Shannon, that you removed, and that the last government has done more to undermine pension provision in this country by the private pension levy that took €2.6 billion out of people's savings and provisions for their retirement?
Thank you, Deputy Taoiseach.
Well, as I said, the Minister for Social Protection did meet with the chairperson of the Pension Authority. He's asked the authority to report back to him with an assessment of the current overall position in relation to defined benefit schemes. And his advice being sought from the Attorney-General was, in what way might he be able to look at the question of the public element of this. Clearly, it's obvious that legislation in this area cannot be made retrospective. So the Minister has asked the chairperson of the Pensions Authority to report back to him. I mentioned before that the funding standard in the funding standard that applies here, there have been some calls for that to be suspended. That defines the basis upon which liabilities of defined benefit schemes have to be calculated. It provides a benchmark against which, the strength of a scheme can be tested, and when a scheme fails the funding standard, that means that unless some action is taken, the scheme will not be able to pay all the benefits that were promised to the shareholders in the first place. And any reduction in the funding standard would not improve the scheme's ability to pay the benefits as they fall due. So the Minister will get the report from the Chairman of the Pensions Authority in due course.